Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on what's today's date? 15th. Here on the 15th of May, 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Friday Night Smackdown. And to be completely honest, I thought tonight's Smackdown was just a very, very average show. There was nothing special about tonight's show that really stood out to me other than the Daniel Bryan Gulak match, which I really, really, really enjoyed. But other than that, there was nothing on this show that I was like, ooh, that was good, or ooh, that hit hard, or ooh, I'm interested to see where that leads to. Nothing. Completely nothing other than Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, which I thought was a great match. That really resonated, at least in my opinion. And with that, I'll give you my rating at the end. But it was a weaker show, I think. And it all kicked off with a horrible segment at the beginning of the show with the Miz TV. But first, we got everybody jumping in the live chat right now. So let's see who is here with us. We got Ethan Taylor, Brendan Paquette, I hope I said that right, Chris Gomez, Eric Tate, Alexis Cavallos, Derek Bocek, Kevin Cora, Angel Hernandez, Nico Bellick, Grand Arbor, Broken King Slender, Sinclair Saturday, Marks with Mics, and so many more of you. I want to say thank you for joining me here live to talk about tonight's SmackDown. So let's get into it. Tonight's Friday Night SmackDown kicked off with a recap of Money in the Bank. And they started this recap, and my first thought was, fuck, this feels like so long ago. And I'm not joking, like so long ago. Like it doesn't feel like it was less than a week ago. It really, to me, felt like this pay-per-view just was forever ago. The show then kicks off with Miz TV. Miz and Morrison make their way down to the ring before Miz can barely even introduce the show. Music of Otis plays and he's interrupted. Otis made his way down to the ring. Otis was beyond happy and overjoyed, over the moon some may say, to have the Money in the Bank briefcase. Miz told Otis to sit. Otis sat in the chair and, well, it broke. And that was the theme of all of this. Fat jokes. Not just fat jokes and sex jokes. Otis said, you know what, I'm just going to stand after the chair broke. Otis noted this is the biggest win of his career, but the biggest win of his life is having Mandy Rose. Morrison wondered, how'd you get Mandy? Miz showed pictures of Otis as a child and mocked his weight as a baby. He said, how big were you when you were born? He said, 12 pounds, 4 ounces. The biggest baby to come out of my mom. Otis pointed out that he had a learning disability, and it was hard for him in school. Morrison wondered if his learning disability made it impossible for him to put on pants. Because they showed a picture of him as a kid, maybe 12, wearing just trunks, knee pads, boots, and Otis was like, look at the ham hocks on that. Again, more fat jokes. Miz then became frustrated that Otis won Money in the Bank and basically said that you're just a joke, but when I had Money in the Bank, I took it serious. Because Otis is like doing his all, and like dancing around kind of in the ring, and Miz is getting frustrated. He pointed out that he used the briefcase to launch his career. And Otis is just using it as a lunchbox. Because they were like, what's in there? And he's like, I got some of this, I got some of that, a bratwurst if I'm hungry later. And so Miz said he's making a joke out of the briefcase. Miz then said, you know what? Get Tucker. We're going to have a tag team match later tonight. And for some reason, Tucker wasn't there again. The second time that Otis had to get him, Otis had to be in a match where there's a mystery partner. Last week, Otis was the mystery partner. This week, he's got to find a mystery partner. So he was like, Tucky's not here. I guess he said Tucker's injured. I don't know when he would have been injured, so we'll see where that leads to. Miz became even more upset and told Otis to find anybody, and we'll wrestle later. Then all of a sudden, for some odd reason, a stagehand comes in, puts another chair in the ring that seems a little more padded, more heavy duty. And Miz goes, "We're done. What the hell are you doing? Where were you earlier?" And the guy just switches the chair. So dumb. I hated this segment with everything that I have because it was dumb. I mean, at one point, Morrison goes, "How'd you get Mandy? Are you good in the sack or something like that?" And Miz is like, whoa, this is PG. So Otis promised to find a partner to take on Miz and Morrison later on tonight. And again, I didn't like this. They then announced that the Intercontinental Championship tournament will be kicking off tonight, and the fucking matches are stacked. We got Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak, which happened tonight. Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, which I believe is next week. Elias versus King Corbin, which was tonight. And AJ Styles from Raw against Shinsuke Nakamura, I believe, next week. They did state that the finals of this tournament will be taking place on SmackDown. I assumed maybe they would take place at the Backlash pay-per-view, but I guess not. And then we kicked off the night's action with an Intercontinental Championship Tournament first round match, Elias against King Corbin. They recapped the feud between Elias and Corbin over the last many weeks. Corbin and Elias worked a slow pace early, and the match dragged. Corbin hit a back elbow for a near fall. Elias fought back, but Corbin slowed the pace down yet again, this time with a chin lock. Elias recovered and sent Corbin to the floor. Elias hit a crossbody off the top turnbuckle to the floor. Corbin then sent Elias into the barricade and took over. Elias then noticed and picked up Corbin then noticed and picked up Elias's guitar and pretended to play it. On commentary, Corey Graves cheered him on, saying, "You're doing a great job, bud." Elias snapped when Corbin touched the guitar. He hit him with a sliding drop kick on the floor. Elias beat Corbin around ringside. After a commercial break, Elias was firmly in control with the chin lock. Elias tried walking the ropes, but Corbin tripped him up. Corbin and Elias brawled on top of the Ooh. I got all these burps all of a sudden. Take one sip of a Monster and it's like burp heaven. Anyways, back to the action. Corbin and Elias brawled on top of the announce table. There we go. Corbin regained control and hit the around the post clothesline for a close near fall. Corbin hit a series of clotheslines until Elias countered into a swinging neck breaker. Elias made a furious comeback and hit an inverted DDT, but twisted Corbin and dropped him on his face for a near fall. Corbin attempted the around the post clothesline, but Elias ducked. Corbin recovered and hit a spine buster for a near fall. Corbin rolled out of the ring and smashed Elias' guitar against the ring post, and then he jumped back in. Elias was pissed. Elias rocked Corbin with a knee and used the inside cradle to pick up the victory. Elias will be moving on in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Elias will be facing the winner of AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the second round. So in the back, Otis approaches Sheamus. He's like, "Sheamus, I need a mystery partner. I need a tag team partner to take on Miz and Morrison tonight. What do you say?" And Sheamus is like, "Oh, you want me to be your partner? You want us to team up together and take on the Miz and Morrison tonight? You're kidding. No, I ain't doing that." And Otis is kind of like, "Oh." So we come back from a commercial break, and Mandy Rose approaches Otis. He was kind of upset because he couldn't find a partner. And Mandy goes, "Hey, why don't you just go ask Braun Strowman? He's the Universal Champion. It wouldn't hurt to ask." And Otis is like, "Oh, I love that idea." He walks off, walks back, and kisses Mandy on the cheek. She's smitten, and there we go. I don't know why, but I think they're going to turn these two heel. I don't know why. Maybe because of what happened at the end of the show. Kind of weird to think that, but we then got another hacker video. He promised that the truth will be told. To be honest, I can care less than I liked this Smackdown about the hacker. The hacker gimmick has been played out way too long, and I don't care about it anymore. I honestly could care less about the hacker. Actually, I couldn't care any less about the hacker. That's how little I care about it now. So Otis approached Braun, and said, hey, I need a mystery partner to take on Miz and Morrison tonight. Why don't you team up with me? And Braun's like, ooh, why? So you can get me in the ring and cash your money in the bank in on me? And Otis is like, no. I won't do that. I won't. I just need a partner. And Strowman says that he knows how this usually plays out, but he respects Otis, and he'll think about it. And Otis is kind of just like, I'll think about it. Yeah. Think about it. So next up, we got Dana Brooke versus Naomi. They stated that Naomi wanted revenge on Dana Brooke, or redemption, for Dana Brooke beating her to make it into Money in the Bank. Michael Cole stated that he talked to Naomi, and she said that she watched Money in the Bank, but just had this horrible feeling in her gut the whole time, knowing that she should have been in that match. So Naomi had the early advantage in this really short match. Dana Brooke took over. Brooke hit a cartwheel elbow in the corner. She attempted a second one, but Naomi got her knees up. Naomi hit a crossbody for a near fall. Brooke suddenly then just rolled her up and pinned her. If this wasn't a Divas era match, I don't know what this was. This match went no more than like 2 minutes, if 2.5 maybe, if that. And then it was over. Dana Brooke, yet again, picks up the victory. Like, what the fuck are they planning on doing with Dana Brooke? I have no clue. They then recapped Becky Lynch's big announcement from Monday Night Raw. And even seeing it tonight, I still got the feels. When she says the line, you go be a warrior, because I'm going to be a mother. I don't know if it's the line or the way she delivered it, but as a parent, it chokes me up a little every time I hear it, or every time I see that clip. So next up, we got the NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. And here's an interesting tidbit to note. So we got what they're calling the brand-to-brand invitational. Brands, which is only Raw and Smackdown apparently, can invite somebody from the other brand to come to their show. Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw. But Michael Cole said this can only happen 4 times throughout the year. So they're going to use this all up quick. Because is it 4 times or 4 people? Because here's the thing. Monday, Corbin was on Raw to cut a promo on McIntyre. Tonight, Charlotte was on SmackDown. Next week, we're probably getting AJ, and Charlotte's going to take on Bayley. There's 4 appearances right there. And I'm not even counting Corbin Monday on Raw. That's 5. So is it 5 wrestlers can go back and forth, or 4 wrestlers can go back and forth throughout the year, and that's it? Because that was like the wild card rule last year. Vince said any week 3 to 4 wrestlers can go back and forth between, but no more. To where eventually it was, oh, well, a tag team counts as 1. And then it was, oh, yeah, screw it, there's not a number anymore. It's just whoever wants to go back and forth. So I don't have any way to justify their rule because they're going to break their rule. I'm just saying. So Charlotte Flair came out, and I'm going to say it right now, promos are getting better. She doesn't actually sound robotic anymore. Because she used to do the whole, I'm the greatest woman in all of WWE. She doesn't sound like that anymore. She sounds like she's just herself cutting a promo. So Flair noted that she's working all 3 brands now because people just want more Charlotte Flair. She said, of course, Fox wanted me here because, well, my last name is Flair. I'm 5'10", and I'm blonde. She said she won many of her championships, 5 to be exact, of her 10 championships on SmackDown. Flair thinks that there should be a giant picture hanging in the Performance Center of her. Basically, she's saying that they need to retire her jersey on SmackDown. Then she was interrupted by Bayley, the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Sasha Banks. And this got a little interesting, but it was kind of like, yeah, you can see where this is going. Corey Graves noted that these 3 women make up a third of the 4 horsewomen. Bayley noted that Fox wanted Flair on SmackDown because she's blonde and her last name is Flair. And I go, yeah, Charlotte just said that. Then she mentioned that Fox liking blondes twice. And I'm like, okay. Is there a thing here? So Bayley and Banks pointed out that the last time they actually saw Charlotte Flair, which means that they don't see her at pay-per-views, was when Bayley beat her to become a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion. Again, people forget things a lot in WWE, which we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan's memory later on as well. But they literally said, the last time we saw you, well, that was when I, Bayley, beat you for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So they didn't see her at Mania. They didn't see her at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. They didn't see her at freaking Money in the Bank. They didn't. Well, Charlotte wasn't at Money in the Bank, so never mind. They didn't see her at the Royal Rumble. Just saying. Bayley and Banks demanded Flair leave the ring because this is their show. Flair ran down all of Banks' accomplishments and wondered why she's just basically living in Bayley's shadow. Bayley started yelling at Flair, and Flair asked somebody to turn off Bayley's mic because she wants to speak straight to Sasha Banks. Bayley interrupted before Banks could talk, though. Charlotte was like, Sasha, you and I main evented. We're the first women to main event Raw. First women to main event, or first, they weren't the first women to main event Raw, but she's made it sound like that. They were the first women to main event a pay-per-view, first women in Hell in a Cell. And like I said, Bayley interrupted before Banks could talk. This has been a theme recently. Bayley then said, hey, how about we do this? Champion versus champion, you versus me. And Flair said, well, I bet you Fox would like for me to wrestle on their show. So, sure. Flair asked Banks, though. She said, Bayley, can you step aside for a second? I have one more question for Sasha. She's like, why can't you be your own woman? And why do you have to be Bayley's lackey? And Sasha had that look on her face like, God, you're right. I really need to think about this. So I thought this segment as well wasn't great, but it was effective. And it was a little bit predictable, but still pretty good. So going forward in the back, Kayla Braxton approached Braun Strowman and asked him, hey, are you going to be Otis's partner? And Braun's warming up, so I'm thinking, well, he's got to be. Why would he be warming up for anything? And Braun literally says, and who the hell speaks like this? I don't know yet. I'm still chomping on it. Like, what? Who the hell talks like that? I'm still chomping on it? Okay, Braun. So next up, we got the Forgotten Sons discussing their past in serving in the military. They said when they returned home, they had nobody to help them. And a disclaimer aired before this promo. Cool. Renee Young then interviewed the Miz and Morrison in the back. Miz and Morrison said they aren't worried about Braun Strowman if he is Otis's partner, and they doubt that that's what's going to happen anyways. We then got a phenomenal match between Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, and I liked this a little better than their Elimination Chamber match, to be honest. So I thought this match was great. It was way more technical stuff than before. A lot of reversals, a lot of submissions, a lot of just full-on technical match. And I thought it was great. Even the match ends, and my son just goes, whoa, that was cool. And my son, keep in mind, 8.5, and thought that this match was good. Liked this match a lot. So Bryan and Gulak started off with a slow pace, and it never really dragged, as they always were doing something. There was always something going on, even when somebody was in a submission. They worked a very physical style, and like I stated, there were a lot of transitions, a lot of holds, a lot of technical things. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves pushed that Gulak is usually Bryan's coach in his corner. Tonight, they must wrestle each other. They shook hands to start the match. Bryan and Gulak started off with some mat wrestling. Bryan worked over the arm, but Gulak slipped out. Bryan held on and applied the yes lock and rolled through into the Gulak. Bryan broke free. Bryan went back to the arm, but Gulak countered into a pinfall that only got, I think, a 2. Bryan went back to the armbar, but Gulak slipped out again. Gulak took over and dropped Bryan over the top to the floor. Back from the break, Gulak was firmly in control and hit a back suplex for a near fall. Gulak slowed down the pace with a full Nelson and a side headlock. Bryan attacked the leg in an attempt to break the hold, but Gulak held on. Bryan broke the hold with a a shin breaker, and then hit 2 dragon screws. One that was kind of, I guess you could say, countered or diverted by Gulak. Bryan then applied an ankle lock, but Gulak made it to the ropes. Bryan then hit a German suplex for a near fall. Gulak then gave Bryan a modified Michinoku driver and just drilling him down on his neck and shoulder. He only got a near fall off of it, and Bryan rolled Gulak, but turned it into a reverse German suplex. Bryan attempted a running knee, but Gulak dropped down and rolled him up. They traded pinfall attempts here. Gulak applied the Gulak, but Bryan broke free. Bryan hit a vicious-looking dragon screw and locked on a knee bar for the victory. I thought this match was great. Afterwards, Bryan's memory was a little shaky. He was interviewed by Renee Young, and he was like, hey, what's it mean to be in this tournament and getting this victory? And he said, 5 years ago, I had to relinquish the Intercontinental Championship because I was forced to retire, and I haven't gotten an opportunity at the belt since. And my first thought was, motherfucker, you just had an opportunity at this belt like a month and a half ago when you wrestled Sami Zayn for the title at WrestleMania. Is your brain going again? Yeah, he doesn't remember WrestleMania from this year. He literally said, I gave up the Intercontinental Championship 5 years ago and haven't had an opportunity at this belt since. Like, what? Roman Molinar corrects me in the chat and says it was a heel hook. Correct. It was a heel hook, not a knee bar. I always get those two mixed up for some reason. But with this, Bryan advances and will take on the winner of Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy, which, Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy, that should be fun. I've seen Daniel Bryan and Sheamus. And Sheamus fucked him up in that match that I saw. It was the Smackdown after WrestleMania 31. I was there live. Sheamus clubbed Daniel Bryan hard at one point in that match and gave him a concussion. And then I think he only worked like one more match after that before his hiatus. After the match, Gulak walked up to Daniel Bryan. They shook hands and then hugged. In the back, Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville discussed their mixed tag match against Otis and Mandy next week. So that's the one match that we know that's happening next week. Deville mocked Rose and promised to ruin her life. And then, we got our main event. First, Miz and Morrison come down. Otis then comes down, and the question is, who's his partner going to be? Is it Braun Strowman? And, it's Braun Strowman. Big surprise there. So Otis starts it off and overpowers Morrison to gain the early advantage. Otis knocked Miz off the apron and tagged in Strowman. Otis and Strowman gave Morrison a double caterpillar, and this looked horrible. Fucking Braun trying to do a caterpillar. This was bad. Looked like he was trying to dive headfirst into the mat. After commercial break, Miz was firmly in control. After poking Otis in the eye, Miz followed it up with a running knee in the corner. Miz slowed down the pace with a chin lock. Miz and Morrison attempted a double suplex, but Otis countered to a suplex of his own. Strowman got the hot tag and ran wild here. Strowman ran around ringside and ran down Miz. Morrison saw Strowman coming and ran out of the way. Strowman attempted a splash in the corner, but Morrison pulled Miz out of the way, and Strowman went shoulder first into the post. Morrison tried to take the advantage, but Strowman was just a little too much for him. Reversed a couple of moves, hit him with the power slam, bada boom, Universal Champion Braun Strowman pins. What is this? Johnny Drip Drip, John Morrison. After the match, Otis and Strowman celebrated before Mandy would actually come out and distract Strowman for some reason. Otis would then slowly sit down his Money in the Bank briefcase and look like he was about to jump Braun from behind, maybe with a club and forearm or even a what's it called? Low blow. Why, I don't know why I couldn't think of it. And Strowman turns around and is like, "What are you trying to do?" And Otis is like, I'm just playing. Nothing. We're cool. Yeah, we're cool. Mandy, get in the ring. And so Mandy gets in the ring. She hugs Otis. They pose with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Corey Graves literally says, I don't have the quote, but he basically says that he's jealous of Otis for having Mandy. And my thing is, bro, Corey, you've got Carmella. You've got Carmella. Why would you be jealous? You got a hottie as well. Just saying. But with that was Friday Night Smackdown. We do know that next week we will be getting Otis and Mandy versus Sonya and Dolph. I believe they never said it specifically that Charlotte versus Bayley will be next week. And then also AJ versus Nakamura and Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. It was alluded that those two matches would be next week, but again, never officially stated that they will be 100% next week. So with that, that's going to do it for this week's Friday Night Smackdown. I want to thank everybody who did watch live or later right here on YouTube. Actually, wait, I've got one text message that I do want to read. The person here stated, who do you see winning the IC title, and do you think Otis loses his Money in the Bank? If so, to who and when? I don't think he's going to lose the briefcase. I just don't know if he's going to successfully cash in. Also, I think Bryan should win the title, and the finals should be Bryan versus AJ. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for watching tonight as we talked about Friday Night Smackdown. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram, just search Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. You can follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter at TimmyBuddy, and follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy. I should be streaming on Twitch a little bit later. Not sure what I'm going to stream yet. Maybe Valorant, maybe Grand Theft Auto 5. And if you haven't heard, until May 21st, on the Epic's Game Store, Grand Theft Auto 5 is free. The premium edition of Grand Theft Auto 5 is free, so head over there, check that out, and get that game for free. Maybe if you get Grand Theft Auto 5, you jump online, we'll play together. So head over there, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy. I will be streaming some games there a little bit later tonight. So have a good night, guys, and we'll see you next time.